Have you ever just stopped and felt like you're drowning in noise? Just surrounded by endless opinions, half-truths, and you find yourself wondering what is actually real? Well, believe it or not, thousands of years ago, the philosopher Plato was obsessed with that exact same question. So let's dive into his pretty radical guide for escaping a world of shadows to find what genuine knowledge really looks like. And it all kicks off with this one seemingly simple question from his dialogue, the Meno, can virtue be taught? Now, think about it. To really teach something, you have to truly know it, right? But what does it even mean to know? And just like that, this one question launches an entire investigation into the very nature of reality itself.
See, Plato's world was kind of in a crisis. There were these philosophers called the Sophists, and they were masters of persuasion. They basically argued that truth was relative, that what's true for you is true for you, and what's true for me is true for me. Sound familiar? In a world of competing opinions, of information echo chambers with no real anchor, how could you ever know anything for sure?
So how does Plato even begin to illustrate this problem? Well, he gives us one of the most powerful and honestly unforgettable metaphors in all of Western philosophy, the allegory of the cave. And for him, this isn't just a story. This is a picture of our everyday reality. Okay, so imagine this. You're a prisoner, and you've been chained up since you were born inside this dark cave, forced to look at only one thing, the wall right in front of you. Now behind you, there's a fire flickering, and between you and the fire, people are walking back and forth carrying all sorts of objects. All you've ever seen, your entire life, are the shadows these objects cast on the wall. For you, those flickering, unreliable shadows, well, they are reality. That's it.
And here's where Plato brings it home. He says that grim picture, that's us. Those shadows on the wall are like the information we get from our senses. Everything we see, hear, and touch is just a world of changing appearances and shifting perceptions. It's not the ultimate, unchanging truth. It's just shadows. And this idea leads us straight to Plato's most fundamental distinction. It's the one thing that his entire philosophy is built on. The huge, critical difference between what we think is true and what we actually know is true.
So Plato basically splits reality into two worlds. On one side, you've got doxa, which is just opinion. That's the world of shadows inside the cave. It's based on our unreliable senses, it's always changing. But then, on the other side, you have episteme, that's true knowledge. And that's the real world outside the cave, the one you grasp with your mind. It's unchanging, universal, and it's all about the true essence of things.
What's really interesting is that Plato argued that even a correct opinion still isn't the same as knowledge. He used this fantastic metaphor. A true opinion is like an untethered horse. Yeah, it might be in the right place right now, but if it's not tied down, it can just wander off. It's not reliable, it's not secure.
All right, so if our opinions are just these wandering horses, how do we tether them? How do we start that long, difficult climb out of the cave and into the sunlight of true reality? Well, Plato doesn't just leave us hanging, he gives us a very specific and very rigorous method.
The tool for this massive job is called dialectic. And listen, this is not just a casual debate over coffee, no way. It's a super disciplined, logical process of intense question and answer. It's designed to just strip away every single assumption until you get to the absolute foundation of an idea. You can think of it as the philosophical rope we use to tether our opinions to the rock of truth.
And let me tell you, it is an intellectually brutal process. You start with a hypothesis, like you try to define justice. Then you put it through the ringer. You subject it to relentless scrutiny, analyzing every angle for weaknesses, for hidden assumptions. The idea has to survive what Plato literally calls the gauntlet of all tests, beating every single counter-argument until you finally arrive at a first principle, an undeniable truth that stands completely on its own.
But here's where it gets kind of wild. For Plato, when you finally arrive at one of these fundamental truths through dialectic, you're not actually learning it for the first time. You're having this incredible aha moment of recollection. You're basically remembering an eternal truth that your soul already knew in a previous existence before it was imprisoned in your body. You're finally seeing with what he calls the eye of the mind.
Okay, so we've got the problem. We're stuck in the cave, and we have the method for getting out, this process of dialectic. So now let's look at Plato's detailed map that charts the entire journey, from the lowest form of illusion all the way up to pure enlightenment. This is Plato's famous divided line. Think of it as his roadmap from total ignorance to enlightenment. Let's start way down at the bottom, deep in the visible world. Here we've got illusion. This is where we mistake shadows and reflections for reality, just like the prisoners staring at the wall. Take one step up and you get to belief. Here, we can see the actual physical things, but we're still just relying on our faulty senses. The real journey begins when we cross that line into the intelligible world, the realm of the mind. First comes understanding, where we grasp abstract concepts, like in geometry or math. And then finally, at the very peak, we reach knowledge, the first principles of reality itself, which can only be grasped through the raw power of dialectic.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Running a gauntlet of all tests, abandoning the only world you've ever known, this all sounds incredibly difficult. And that raises a huge final question. What on earth would ever motivate someone to take on this demanding philosophical journey in the first place?
The answer, for Plato, isn't some cold, detached logic. It's a powerful, passionate, and compelling force he called eros. Now today we hear that word and we pretty much just think of physical desire. But for the Greeks, eros was a deep, intense desire for anything. And for the philosopher, it's a consuming love for what is true, what is good, and what is beautiful.
So here's the crucial point. This whole climb out of the cave isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's fueled by this deep, almost instinctual, unsatisfied hunger for what is permanent, for what is real. It's that powerful desire to finally see the good itself that compels the prisoner to turn away from the shadows and begin that painful but ultimately freeing climb into the light.
And you know, that leaves us with a challenge that feels more relevant right now than maybe ever before. Plato's world was one of competing opinions. Our world? It's a world of infinite information, endless notifications, and digital shadows everywhere you look. So his question really becomes our question. In a world that seems to be literally built for distraction, how do we cultivate that eros, that passionate, driving love for what's truly real?